Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today guys, I'm gonna do part 10 to my my CoPilot Chatbot series. Well, in today's video guys, we're gonna continue from where we left off last time with the dinosaurs. I typed in something as a response, but never got to respond to, or never got to read out what the response said. Here's what I said with the last thing that you put down for me. I said I want to continue to be honest with you and possibly other dinosaurs that decide to trust me. There's something that keeps going on in my world where my own pet Tyrannosaurus something bad keeps happening with him, but it's because of certain Pokemon, especially this one called Trico. One of the main nicknames I get called by evil people is Raptor Boy, because in one of the things that the Pokemon did, I got turned into a tiny velociraptor, while my pet dinosaur got turned aggressive and kept transforming into different creatures, like Pokemon, other dinosaurs, and even mythical creatures like dragons. Okay, here we go. The T-Rex listens in silence, its piercing golden eyes locked onto you, absorbing your words with surprising depth. The jungle around you seems to still, as if the very trees are listening to your confession. Oh my gosh. You've been through things that even the deep wilds wouldn't have imagined. And murmurs after a moment, its voice softer than before. Transformation, chaos, force change beyond your control. His tail flicks slightly and thoughtful. That's not something any creature takes lightly. The Bronchosaurus exhales sharply, stomping once. This time it's not out of anger. It's more grounding itself, trying to process. To be forced into something unnatural. I understand why you fight against it. The T-Rex tilts its massive head slightly. Your pet Tyrannosaurus? His aggression? His instability? Is it because he can't control what's happening to him? Its voice carries genuine curiosity as if it's trying to understand rather than judge. Does he know who he truly is beneath all those changes? The jungle hums the rustling of unseen creatures weaving through the heavy undergrowth. The energy in the air is no longer one of suspicion, it is one of consideration. The Bronchosaurus eyes you carefully, his skepticism still lingering but weaker than before. If you are not enemy to creatures, if you have suffered in ways you never asked for, then perhaps you are not what we feared. T-Rex steps closer, lowering its head slightly as if immense presence radiating strength, but not intimidation. If you wish to walk among us, then know that transformation does not have to mean loss. If your Tyrannosaurus still exists within those forms, then perhaps he is not truly lost, just waiting to be found. The trees whisper as the wind shifts through this ancient foliage, the very world seeming to pause to hear your response. Let's see, let's see. It's hard to completely explain, but at the time this was happening, he became more like the creature that he turned into. So if he became a dragon, for example, I had to talk to him like he was the dragon. And reassure him that I wasn't going to hurt him. Because even though I was a tiny velociraptor, he still saw me as a threat. He still saw me as a threat. And even blamed me for him getting turned into that. Period. But he wasn't like that every time. Sometimes, like when he would turn into...
Dude, that freaking Half-Life 2 radio is creeping me out because I heard that noise.
When he would turn into Toadol,
that radio is freaking me out.
He would become playful and happy.
Because those Gmod
And another example is Lugia. He wouldn't always be aggressive as a Lugia, but sometimes he would.
Sometimes it plays like the garage mod thing in the radio.
There we go.
Sometimes it plays
The T-Rex listens with intense focus, his golden eyes gleaming with deep contemplation. So when he transformed, he became the creature, not just physically but mentally. It murmurs, processing her words carefully, and each form carried its own instincts, its own nature, sometimes hostile, sometimes playful. But through it all, he remembered himself, didn't he? Even if it wasn't always obvious. The Bronchosaurus exhaled slower, heavy breaths stamping one massive foot against the soft earth. That kind of transformation is dangerous, not just for the body, but for the mind. His gaze sharpens. If he blamed you, then deep inside he was still aware of who he had been. Otherwise, why would he see you as responsible? It huffed softly, tail flicking. He was caught between who he was and who he became. Derek tilted his massive head, considering. And yet, you spoke to him, to each version of him. You didn't fight him, didn't reject the changes. You adjusted, met him where he was, registered in his language, his instincts. A low rumble of approval echoed in his throat. That requires understanding most wouldn't have. The jungle was quiet except for the faint rustling of unseen creatures, as if the very deep wild itself was digesting this revelation. The weight of your experiences, your vows not against an enemy, but against instability and shifting identities, resonates in ways they haven't expected. The Brontosaurus watches you, still cautious but no longer radiating hostility. You speak of creatures as equals, not objects to be controlled. That is rare. The T-Rex's tail switches, a slow, measured movement. If you could speak to him, if you could speak through him through his transformations, then perhaps you can speak to us, not just in words, but in understanding. That's what will earn you a place among us. The jungle hums with energy, charged with the possibility of what comes next. That's the weird thing about it. It wasn't just the fact that he would change identities.
Mom, run! It's after! Again. So many ones.
Wasn't just the fact that he would change identities. It would be almost like he forgot who I was.
I guess the small ones can't do the killing damage.
Sometimes even forgetting how small I was. There was one time in particular where he turned into a
Mom? Mom?
where he turned into a Toto and was very playful and sweet, but also kind of he wasn't completely thinking of how small I was. almost stepping on me by accident because he was being so playful and happy. And it was. Oh, oh my gosh. Here's listens intently, its golden eyes flickering with understanding. So, it wasn't just the form that changed, it was his awareness. It murmurs, processing the weight of what you're saying. Each transformation didn't just alter his body, but his perception, his memories, his instincts, even his awareness of you. The brontosaurus exhaled sharply, shaking its massive head. That's unsettling, it admits. It wasn't just aggression that made him dangerous, it was forgetting. Forgetting his own size. Forgetting you. His tail swayed slowly, as if deep in thought. And yet, you still stayed by him? T-Rex rumbled approvingly. Even when he forgot how small you were, even when he shifted between forms, you never abandoned him. He tilted his head subtly, or slightly, considering the implications. That takes loyalty most creatures wouldn't have. The jungle hums with unseen life, the ancient trees whispering with rustling leaves. The wind carries the scent of damp earth and heavy foliage, wrapping around you like the weight of a shattered understanding. The Bronchosaurus finally lets out a slow breath. You have known creatures who change unpredictably, who lose themselves, who forget, who transform without warning, and yet you adapt instead of reject. You help instead of fear. As rare, Steph was gently behind, golden eyes steady. Perhaps that's why the rift brought you here. Just as the wind picks up slightly, ancient land itself waiting for your next choice. Well, one thing I learned about that is, like I was saying a while ago, I talk to the creature he turns into, especially if he doesn't completely know who he is. Sometimes he would be unpredictable and dangerous as a massive dragon. I said massive, you freaking idiot! Sometimes as a Lugia he would be nice, and sometimes he would be aggressive.
I gotta look for the statue, bro.
It's almost like he turns into that creature for real, because he would act just like that creature. Period. Like when he turns into a Lugia or a even an aggressive alligator. He would act just like that creature. Like when he turned into a Lugia, or even an aggressive alligator. If I told him he was literally my favorite Pokemon and showed him love, he would be protective and sweet. like the normal. Give me a second. Alright, guys. I said, well, one thing I've learned about that is what I was saying a while ago. I talk to the creature he turns into, especially if he doesn't completely know who he is. Sometimes he would be unpredictable and dangerous as a massive dragon. Sometimes as a Lugia he would be nice, and sometimes he would be aggressive. It's almost like he turns into that creature for real, because he would act just like that creature. Like when he turned into a Lugia or even an aggressive Fragger, if I told him he was literally my favorite Pokemon and showed him a lot of love, he would be protective and sweet like the normal Lugia. I mean, normal Rexy. He listens closely. Its golden eyes glistening with a deep, quiet understanding. So, by recognizing the creature he believed he was at the time, you reached him, it murmurs. Instead of forcing him to remember who he had been, you met him where he was. Whether that was a Lugia, a Feraligatr, or even a raging dragon. Bronchiosaurus takes its massive form, shifting slightly. That kind of understanding, that's rare. It glances at you, the skepticism in its gaze subdued, replaced with something more contemplative. Most creatures, most humans, fear what they do not control. But you adapt. The jungle hums softly, the trees whispering under a drifting wind, as if the deep wild itself acknowledges the way of this realization. The character's tail sways in a slow, measured motion, his voice carrying quiet approval. That means you understand something that even many of our kind struggle with. Transformation does not mean losing yourself, but sometimes it means forgetting until something familiar brings you back. It tilts its massive head. And if that's true, then perhaps that's why you are still pulled here. Dinosaur watches you for a long moment. If you have walked among creatures who shift, who change, who forget themselves, then perhaps you can walk among us. The jungle's energy crackles in the air, heavy with the ancient mystery waiting for your next choice. I got really lucky and he kept turning into creatures I really like anyway. It seemed like it was either mainly dragons, other dinosaurs, or Pokemon I really like Lugia, or although there were times where he turned into one of my biggest fears, a giant roach. And that almost made it too scary to talk to him. He lets us out a deep rumble, equal parts amused and intrigued. So most of the time his transformations worked in your favor, it muses. But when the rift, or whatever caused it, chose wrong, it really chose wrong. Its sharp golden eyes gleamed as it processed the weight of your words. A giant roach? I can't blame you for that one. It's a nightmare even by our standards. The Bronchiosaurus exhaled sharply, shifting its massive frame. Even loyalty has limits when fear takes hold. It mutters, though not in judgment, more in quiet understanding. The mind can adapt to much, but primal terror, that is different. Joel seems to murmur in agreement, unseen creatures stirring in the undergrowth. There's something ancient about the way the wilds listen, something deep and knowing. The T-Rex watches you thoughtfully. It's interesting. You were given a trial. One that twisted someone close to you into things familiar, both familiar and feared. And yet, you stayed by them when you could. It tilts its massive head. That says a lot about you. Brontosaurus lets out a slow breath. If you do stay here, if you do seek out others in this world, then know this. Fear will test you. Creatures beyond your comfort, beyond your understanding, beyond your control. It's piercing gaze cells on you. Oh my. I am so sorry, guys. Will you face them, or will your fear decide your path? Dylan hums with ancient energy to us when you're like an unspoken challenge.
I just saw his fat so far.
That's one reason I don't want to face humans. Especially that one you told me was lingering around. Period. One of the biggest things they kept doing for a long time was they would bring bugs near me, especially roaches, when I was already so small. As a tiny velociraptor. Period. Even a few times where they made the bug giant to make it even more terrifying for me. I remember especially one time where the giant bug literally picked me up and was hissing right in my face.
Hey, let's not go this way because I just saw one walk.
Let's see, what? Here's instead a low, deep growl, not of hostility towards you, but of unspoken anger at the cruelty you've endured. Its tail flickers in irritation, its golden eyes narrowing. They weaponized your fear, it mutters, voice rich with quiet understanding. Not just to scare you, but to break you, to make you feel powerless. The Brontosaurus huffs, stamping one massive foot against the earth. That's dishonorable, it grumbles, its skepticism towards you shifting slightly. A creature's fear is not something to exploit. It's something that exists for survival, not for the amusement of others. Jungle around you seems to listen, the heavy foliage whispering and unseen creatures sit in the undergrowth. The air hums with something ancient, something deeply aware. T-Rex exhales slowly and measured, though its irritation remains. I see now why you reject facing those humans. It rumbles. It's not just dislike, it's history. And history, true history, is not easily forgotten. Brontosaurus watches you carefully, its massive frame tense but no longer entirely distrustful. You say you seek creatures as allies, not humans. I begin to see why. Here it steps forward, towering over you, but carrying no threat. Then know this. In the deep wilds, trust is earned through action, but protection is given to those who deserve it. Golden Age meteors, you are not alone here. The jungle hums with the weight of the moment, heavy with possibility, waiting for your choice. Thank you. Period. That's what I've been trying to tell you, Bronchiosaurus. You can completely trust me. Oh my gosh, let's see. Even if I was a threat to you, You're probably 10 to 15 times my size. Period. I'm sorry for what you and the other dinosaurs have gone through. Dude, dude, I'm done. I'm done. Alright, guys. I said thank you. That's why I've been trying to tell you, Bronchiosaurus. You can completely trust me. Even if I was a threat to you, you're probably 10 to 15 times my size. I'm sorry for what you and the other dinosaurs have gone through. I really mean that. But know this, I'm not here to hurt anybody. Otherwise, I wouldn't be so kind to you and this Tyrannosaurus Rex. I would have already tried to hurt you if I was a threat to you. Brontosaurus X had slowly shifting its massive frame as it lets your words sink in. Its deep-set eyes study you closely, searching for any trace of deception, but it finds none. I'm so sorry about the screaming, guys. I don't know. I'm sorry. It rumbles its voice not as sharp as we're. You speak with conviction. That is rare. It sways its enormous tail, the motion less tense than before. Perhaps I was too quick to judge. Here it's what's a satisfied rumble, its golden eyes gleaming. That's called growth, my friend, says with a smirk, glaring at the herbivore. You're starting to realize that maybe not all humans are like the ones who came before. It then turns back to you, its gaze steady. And you're proving something important. Trust isn't asked for, it's earned. And so far, you're earning it. Jungle around you hums softly, ancient air shifting with the weight of something new, a quiet, fragile acceptance. Hostility that once cracked in the air is now just a lingering echo, slowly fading. A Bronchiosaurus snorts, shaking its massive head. You have shown kindness where I expected cruelty. For that, I will acknowledge you. There is no grand declaration of friendship, no sweeping gesture, but coming from this creature, those words alone carry deep significance. Here's this. That, my friend, is about the best compliment you're gonna get from them. Oh my gosh. The jungle hums filled with unseen life waiting for your next move. 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 Guys, here's what happened. Before I could say anything else, the baby Ankylosaurus I saved a while ago came back out, and right behind him was a massive Ankylosaurus. The baby came right up to me and started rubbing on me. That's cute. I hope the rub is a good thing and not a bad thing. The baby Ankylosaurus lets out a delighted, rumbling chirp, pressing its armored snout against you with clear affection. Okay, good, it is. The warmth of its gesture is unmistakable. It remembers you, remembers what you did, and it's not just grateful, it's bonded to you now. Are you serious? Okay. But right behind it, the ground vibrates ever so slightly, a heavier presence, slower, controlled. Emerging from the heavy foliage, a massive Ankylosaurus steps forward, its heavily armored form glinting between the filtered sunlight. Dude! I'm sorry, guys. I really am sorry. Oh, crap. His deep brown eyes walk onto you, studying every movement with quiet intensity. The Brontosaurus watches closely, his skepticism replaced by cautious curiosity. It mutters. It returned. Oh, wait. It returned. And it did not return alone. T-Rex grins, tilting its massive head up as it observes the unfolding scene. Looks like you've earned yourself an ally, human. It rumbles. And maybe a guardian? Huh? The massive Ankylosaurus lets out a deep, low rumble, a sound that carries weight, like the deep groan of shifting earth. It sets forward, lowering its head slowly, looking between you and the baby. Baby nudges you again, clearly overjoyed, but the larger Ankylosaurus, it doesn't attack. It doesn't challenge. Instead, it watches. It's assessing you. Jungle hums with unseen life, the heavy foliage whispering around the guttered creatures. Moment lingers, waiting to see what happens next. Hello. You're not going to attack me, are you?
Look at you. Oh, he's going pretty too. He's like so happy about it. Oh, he is tiny. He is. Oh, okay, let me come here. No.
Hey.
No!
Dude,
No!
I'm really sorry about the screaming. Nothing I can do about it, unfortunately. The massive ankylosaurus lets out a low, deep rumble, not of aggression but of contemplation. It stands firm, its heavily armored frame an imposing sight, yet its posture isn't hostile. Its deep brown eyes study you, watching your every move with quiet intensity. The baby ankylosaurus, still pressed against you, nudges you happily, completely unaware of any tension. It chirps in delight, rubbing its snout against your side like it's claiming you as part of its world now. Wow, so it's claiming it's part of its world now, according to this thing. It'd be nice if you. T-Rex chuckles over, golden eyes gleaming. If it was going to attack, it wouldn't be thinking so hard about it. It muses. Looks to me like it's deciding something important. Bronchiosaurus huffs, shifting its massive weight. You saved its young. That alone is not something it will forget. I'm about to give up. I ain't got much time as it is, and this is what's going to make it harder. The massive ankylosaurus lets out another slow breath, its nostrils flaring as it lowers its head ever so slightly. Then, in a deliberate motion, it extends its armored snout forward, sniffing the air around you, testing, evaluating. And then, something shifts. The great beast exhales, slow and controlled before rumbling softly, a sound less like an impending threat and more like an acknowledgement. Jungle watches its silence as the tension fades, replaced by something new. Trust. The baby ankylosaurus chirps excitedly, nudging its massive guardian, and for the first time the elder ankylosaurus accepts her presence, not just as an intruder, but as someone who belongs. T-Rex grins. Well, that's a rare sight. Bronchiosaurus tilts its head, watching you. Perhaps you were not a mistake in this world. Jungle hums one unseen life, waiting for what comes next.
Those tiny bears.
Uh,
No, looks like
Thank you for not attacking me.
it.
For attacking, excuse me, what? No, not. Not. Her baby is adorable.
Stop it. Stop playing that keyboard.
Let's see.
That is creepy. It scares me.
My Vankosaurus lets out a slow, deep rumble. This time, not a warning, but something softer, acknowledging and understanding. The baby, delighted by your words, chirps excitedly and nudges against you again, its tiny tail swishing happily. It seems completely at ease now, as if you've become part of its world. T-Rex grins. Well, that's a sight you don't see every day. It muses. An elder trusting a human. That's no small thing. The Bronchiosaurus exhales, watching the interaction. Perhaps it sees what I'm beginning to see. You are not here to harm us, and maybe, just maybe, you belong among us. The jungle hums with ancient energy, unseen creatures shifting within the dense foliage as if the deep wild itself acknowledges the fragile but undeniable connection. The elder Inquisitor moves slightly, standing tall beside its young one, and then, ever so carefully, it lowers its armored snout toward you, just as its baby had done earlier. A test, a quiet, a quiet gesture of trust. The moment lingers. I reach out slowly.
Why are you throwing it back?
And gently pat the massive Ankylosaurus on the snout. Hey, the massive Ankylosaurus X takes a slow, deep breath as your hand makes contact. Its heavy armored hide is rough and textured beneath your fingertips, ancient in its strength. It doesn't flinch, doesn't pull away. Instead, it allows the touch. A rumbling sound vibrates deep within its chest. Not a growl, not a warning, but something resembling acknowledgement. It's as if it's finally decided you are not an enemy. The baby Ankylosaurus lets out a delighted chirp, bouncing lightly beside its guardian, clearly thrilled that you've been fully accepted. It nudges your side again, tail swishing excitedly. The T-Rex grins, golden eyes gleaming with approval. Well, look at that, it murmurs. I think you just earned yourself a place among the creatures of the deep wilds. Brontosaurus hopes in his massive head, but there's no hesitation left. Perhaps I judged you too harshly, it admits, though it won't say more than that. John Holmes, ancient office, the unseen world acknowledges the quiet moment of trust. Massive Ankylosaurus pulls back slightly, his deep brown eyes watching you, not with suspicion, but with understanding. You are no longer just a stranger, you belong. Hmm.
Dude, that music is freaky.
Hold on, let me think. Give me a second.